Blue-Red Wizards has been the deck that Hoogland has piloted to 8-0 today. Michael is on Jund, his opponent here.
I liked my Jund matchup when I was playing Grixis Delver. Part of that was Kolaghan's Command. Part of that was Force Spell Snares. Jeff's got none of that. Tarmogoyf's a pretty serious problem for Jeff's deck.
Wandering Fumarole on the first turn for Jeff. Both players here are on mulligans to 6. For Bourgoin on Jund. Yeah, you normally like Tarmogoyf decks against blue-red decks, whether it's Blue Moon, Wizards, just the blue-red removal suite's not really good here.
Yes, we're in a matchup where both players have lightning bolts. For Jeff, they're lava spikes that sometime extra removal spell. For Michael, they're just catch-all removal. They're going to tag everything that Jeff is bringing to the table.
And for Jeff's tempo strategy, his turn 2 play was a Delver of Secrets and actually no second land to follow it up.
This matchup felt pretty close playing the prowess version of the Wizards, though one of the important cards in the matchup was Soulscar Mage. Jeff's not playing Soulscar Mage. That's one of your better avenues of dealing with a Tarmogoyf. He only has one copy of Spell Snare. If Michael's able to produce some Tarmogoyfs, it's just going to be a problem for Jeff.
Well, I think there's it's kind of just true when you play against Jund. The more removal spells you put in your deck, like the more reactive cards you put in your deck, the worse you get against Jund. Just... you're playing their game.
Unless you're really good at it. That's not the case for Mardu and a couple other matchups. But you're right. Playing their game is not going to work out for you.
Lightning Bolt takes down Delver. And for Bourgoin, turn 3, he'll have Liliana of the Veil. Jeff does not play Spell Pierce, so this is going to resolve. And could be a runaway.
Yeah, Jeff has some 2-mana counters in the deck, but you have to make your second land drop to do that.
Spellstutter Sprite put into the graveyard. A one of Spellstutter Sprite in Jeff's deck. He will burst lightning half the Liliana.
If he has access to a lightning bolt or some wizard plus wizard's lightning, you can put yourself in a situation where Michael's discarding a card that he might care about, Jeff's discarding a card he doesn't care about, and then you get the lightning bolt down the Liliana.
Yeah, it's like kind of that rope-a-doping someone with their own Liliana where you actually...
Yeah, if Liliana never edicts you, you're actually kind of fine with these exchanges where you throw some burn spells at it.
And this is an interesting choice by Michael. He plussed Liliana, he put Dark Confidant in the graveyard, not casting it, and now loses Liliana to Wizard's Lightning.
Jeff's deck's pretty flush with stuff that just kills Dark Confidant.
It's true. End step, we're going to see a Kolaghan's Command. Getting back Dark Confidant, making Jeff discard. He discards a Wizard's Lightning. And the way he discarded without looking, you wonder if both cards are Wizard's Lightning?
Possible, or it's not that hard to remember the position of 2 cards.
It is for me.
Sure.
I gotta look at them again. Here's Dark Confidant. Yeah, it wasn't. There's a land for Jeff, fair enough.
I put my lands on the bottom of my hand, and my spells other places. I guess
wow.
You would have had a land there, but...
Dark Confidant shows Inquisition of Kozilek. And now a cast. We'll see what Jeff wanted to hang on to. It was Vendilion Click, so he'll cast it in response.
It was pretty unlikely that the Inquisition was going to get something.
Right.
But you may as well cast
Jeff
it.
didn't keep a land and discard his Wizard's Lightning.
Right.
With the trigger on, it looks like Michael's reaching for Lightning Bolt. He'll take care of the click. Now it resolves. We have another Kolaghan's Command, Raging Ravine, and Scavenging Ooze. This is why it's hard to Jund down the Jund deck.
Yeah. That Lightning Bolt was actually just the worst card in Michael's hand.
You almost wanted to have it be there?
Well, I mean, he's valued getting this 2 points in with the Dark Confidant. I don't know that I agree with it. Either casting the Scavenging Ooze or, you're probably losing the Kolaghan's Command there.
Right.
But doesn't really make a difference. He's untapping with Dark Confidant going forward from 18.
Yeah, and now he has Raging Ravine, which really is, if it gets one counter on it, is a pretty big problem for Jeff.
Yeah. 4 toughness, big deal. Especially from 0 cards in hand.
Right.
Jeff sometimes will have the option to throw 2 burn spells at something when he has a decent amount of resources he's working with, or combine, say, Grim Lava Mancer with a burn spell. It's not the kind of game we're watching.
Jeff opts a card to the bottom and draws.
A lot of stuff you want to put to the bottom here. Really, the ideal situation is you do something about this Dark Confidant, but Michael's at the ready with more threats already.
Confidant shows Thoughtseize to Bourgoin. And draws an extra card again. Bloodbraid Elf. That's... Yeah. Remember, it's hard
a good spell.
Hard to Jund down the Jund deck?
Yeah.
How about this? Cascade. Just more cards, drawing more cards. And casting Tarmogoyf.
Didn't even Dark Confidant into the Blood-Braid Elf. Just
Nice
staying at 17.
Confidant into the land, and then drew Blood-Braid Elf.
That is the correct sequence. And he gets to attack for a bunch this turn, a bunch more next turn.
And you see some real... Not even going to hold back the Dark Confidant in case there was some creature that would trade with it.
Don't want to walk that into a Snapcaster Mage.
And there was a Snapcaster Mage. So Snapcaster Mage, Wizard's Lightning, and I think Jeff's going to send it upstairs.
Okay, he's
hoping the
Dark Confidant to just roll a bunch of garbage that costs 3 and 4 off the top.
Well, now Michael's going to start attacking you with the Confidant. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Michael down to 12.
Okay, that backup Dark Confidant. If the first one wasn't expendable already, it certainly is now.
Michael draws a Tarmogoyf for the turn.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Michael continues to be firmly in the driver's seat.
Another Tarmogoyf. There we go. Now Dark Confidant will attack on in.
If one Tarmogoyf was unbeatable.
Yeah, we have... Looks like a 4/5 Tarmogoyf. And hits in for 5. Jeff will drop to 9. Burst Lightning, 2 damage upstairs. That's... Well, if Tarmogoyf... If he flips a Progenitus...
Oh, yeah.
then he's dead.
Progenitus is a long-time staple of the Jund strategy, the Dark Confidant.
You tried it. Yeah, I mean, you can't play more than 2, because otherwise the risk of hitting it's too high. But Jeff will pick up the cards, and for Bourgoin, he takes game 1.
Green creature is really good. Liliana of the Veil also good in a lot of these games against Jeff's deck.
You don't sleep on Tarmogoyf too long, and this is the kind of matchup where Tarmogoyf's just incredible.
Yeah, you know, you want to give Jeff credit as well. There were some mana woes, missed his second land drop for a little while there.
But even then, so there were mana woes. You look back at this, you feel like Jeff's playing Burn, because if we get to the point where Michael starts playing Tarmogoyf and Blood-Braid Elf, Jeff just can't keep pace with that.
Yeah, there are a lot of differences, and there are matchups where the departures actually makes Jeff's deck worse.
Okay.
It's heavier on creatures, lighter on creatures that have haste. In fact, just flash creatures are the closest he comes to approximating that.
So looking at the sideboard, Jeff, we've seen this a couple times. He has mostly removal. Magma Sprays, Abrades, Staticasters, Roasts, Negates, Dispels. The other things in Disdainful Strokes, all the other things he has is an Entrancing Melody and Alpine Moon.
This is the matchup.
This is the Alpine Moon matchup?
This is the Entrancing Melody matchup.
Because we need to answer Tarmogoyf.
Yes.
All right.
Roast 2.
I do like, yeah, you can usually get a Tarmogoyf with a Roast.
Yeah, this other stuff is kind of terrible. Negate can be okay.
So on Bourgoin's side, it's a great matchup to begin with. He does have some sideboard cards that might be able to improve it more. 2 Damping Sphere, 2 Fulminator Mage, 2 Liliana, the Last Hope. His main deck had 4 Veils, no hopes. Ancient Grudge, Collective Brutality, Dreadbore, Grafdigger's Cage, Grim Lavamancer, Kozilek's Return, Nile Spellbomb, Surgical Extraction, and Tireless Tracker.
Eldritch Moon was the set that really got me interested in not playing Delver of Secrets in Modern. There's 2 cards that are the reason for that. Collective Brutality and Liliana the Last Hope. That card is absurdly powerful against Jeff's deck. It just kills everything, and it gains loyalty while it does it.
His whole deck was, saw it previously, where his whole deck was X1s.
Yes.
I figure Liliana's okay.
Collective Brutality, again, this is a deck that it kills everything, and Jeff's deck does it in approximation of a burn deck. Collective Brutality among the best cards against burn decks. Kozilek's Return can be pretty powerful in the matchup. Grim Lavamancer is quite powerful against Jeff's strategy. Just an extra removal spell. I guess Dreadbore's fine, not very exciting. But yeah, those Haymakers, Liliana Last Hope is just so good. That's definitely the biggest upgrade as we look at these sideboarding games.
Yeah. So what's already difficult for matchup for Jeff may get worse after sideboard. Gonna be a tough one.
Yes. Blood-Braid Elf is such a beating, too. The more that your deck is trying to play Mana Leaks, Jeff does have 7 main deck counterspells, the more you're just going to lose to Blood-Braid Elf cascading into anything.
Yeah, it's just anything.
Yes. Castable spell that has a text box that exchanges with a full card.
Which all your cards do.
I don't know how familiar you are with the Jund strategy. But that tends to be most of them.
Most of the cards are good.
Yes.
They trade with whatever your thing is. Their cards probably trade with it.
Right. That is the idea.
Yeah.
The primary objective of the Jund strategy.
Now, what I do like on Jeff's side is that he's got all these burn spells, and Michael's not. He's on very little life gain. We don't have Kitchen Finks or anything like that in the sideboard. No Baloths.
Yeah, there are 3 Scavenging Ooze in the main.
Yeah. I mean,
that card's also
we can kill those.
That card's also pretty good against Snapcaster Mage.
Oh yeah, it's like maybe he won't draw 'em. It's only 3.
That's true. He only drew 1 in game 1.
Yeah. we can probably bolt the first one.
That is true. It's the one that comes down on turn 5 where you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The problem is that also means you're not bolting Michael, which is just in this matchup, Jeff wants to be sending his burn upstairs.
Yes.
All right, Delver of Secrets on the play for Jeff. Both players keeping on 7.
Does it live?
He sure hopes so, and it will. Inquisition of Kozilek. But Michael, didn't. It's Blackleaf Cliff's Inquisition. He'd really love if it was, Overgrown Tomb Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
So take a look at the hand.
We'll lose no life to take the best card out of your hand.
Ugh. All right. On Jeff's side, we have second land. It's a Mutavault, a Remand, and a Mana Leak. So 2 counters. And he has a Bolt and a Grim Lavamancer.
Mutavault has pretty good play against specifically the Planeswalker elements of Michael's deck.
Yeah.
The counter spells kind of have that covered already, though, and if you're land light, it's tough to really execute with that. This is a hand that has weakish spells and not that many lands.
Yeah. I mean, it's really good for Jeff that this was Inquisition and not Fatal Push. His hand was just, doesn't do much. And now he transforms off Wizard's Lightning, which means he no longer has a wizard. And he and he doesn't have red mana.
Right. There's a few problems. He has a wizard. He has a Mutavault.
Okay,
so
he does have a wizard.
Got that box checked.
Michael down to 17 on the attack. Jeff's holding up Mana Leak.
Mana Leak and Remand are both fine here.
Yeah, the Remand's gone.
You're right.
It's got the Mana Leak.
Yeah, that makes it less fine, I suppose. I would be amazed if Michael committed a Tarmogoyf into that Mana Leak. You do have to cast something into it, though. Casting a Dark Confidant here would be pretty good. Kind of can go either way on that one being Mana Leaked.
A lot of burn in Jeff's hand. But Jeff really needs to top deck that
Red Source.
Yeah. I guess Abrupt Decay into Mana Leak would be the best one.
Michael does have access to Scavenging Ooze and Tarmogoyf.
And Jeff, you saw he tapped the mana for that Mana Leak before he even saw what Michael cast.
Yeah, there's situations where, Jeff's not making his land drop. He has a Mana Leak. I am going to counter literally any spell here.
This is interesting. Attack puts Michael down to 11, and Jeff draws the Steam Vents, plays Grim Lavamancer, and now
that's a big deal.
We really have a game. That's a lot of damage.
Right.
His hand still has Lightning Bolt and Wizard's Lightning in it.
Mm-hmm. And unless Michael has untapped Green Source, that Scavenging Ooze is just food for the Grim Lavamancer.
Right.
And Treetop Village is a third land available. Raging Ravine is another. I don't know that he has untapped Green Source.
Well, he does have Collective Brutality, which...
Ooh, that one is good.
That's really good here.
Yes.
Yeah, that and Bloodbraid Elf. So I don't mind, say something of... I kind of want to play all the modes. Kill your guy, drain you, take... He knows it's Bolt Wizard's Lightning.
Right,
he knows
about the whole hand, so getting one of those burn spells out is good. The gaining 2 life kind of counteracts the other one. Getting the Delver off the battlefield means that these lava spikes don't especially matter.
So it looks like he's going to -2 the Insectile Aberration and take a card from Jeff's hand. He didn't... Just escalated once. I mean...
Suppose the 2 life is not worth a full card, and if Michael's hand's just all things that matter, land drops leading up to Bloodbraid Elf, a high-impact spell like Bloodbraid Elf, he does have that Scavenging Ooze. All these things, yeah, I guess they're worth more than 2 life.
The attack puts Michael down to 8. He still has a lot of work to do. Is now another Delver of Secrets for Jeff. So Michael's hand, untapped land, 2 Bloodbraid Elves. It's going to fetch down to 7, though, to make the play, which is not... I mean, he's already, between that Bolt and Lavamancer, he's already basically at 3. So if that...
Bloodbraid Elf gets to stop these creatures from attacking. You're right, Jeff has access to get them on a reach. He only gets to do one of these things on a turn, as he currently only has 1 red mana.
Yeah, it depends. I think Michael needs this Delver to not transform.
Or Bloodbraid Elf into an answer to it.
Yeah, we could also like Bloodbraid into Liliana Last Hope, I suppose.
That would just be absurdly good. Yeah, he's looking at Bloodbraid Elf into hopefully answer for Delver versus Scavenging Ooze, just guaranteed gain 2 life. Ooh, and he actually only has 1 forest in his deck, and he wants that green mana. So he's shocking to do whatever he wants to do here.
Scavenging Ooze. Okay, he's going to go ahead and eat 2 creatures and make it a 4/4, gaining 2 while Jeff's tapped down. He's back up to 7.
If the Delver doesn't transform, this is a huge deal.
And it doesn't.
Okay, Michael's in pretty good shape then.
Because Jeff with only 1 red can't shoot down this Ooze, and also he's going to potentially lose more cards in his graveyard. I guess Michael's probably Bloodbraiding next turn, but this was a risk on Bourgoin's side, but I like how this turned out.
Yeah.
Jeff just says go. Now are we just spinning the wheel on Bloodbraid Elf? Lining it up like we are.
Yeah, graveyard's empty on creatures.
Yeah.
As such, the Scavenging Ooze activations are not worth much. Activating the Treetop Village is really not worth anything.
Bloodbraid Elf from Bourgoin.
Ooh.
Ooh, I said that one was kind of nice. How about into Liliana the last turn?
That is a fine hit.
All right. Which one do you remove?
Delver.
Okay. If Jeff draws a mountain, you're still dead, right? Bolt.
If he draws a
Grim.
mountain, yes, you have 2 activations and a bolt.
All right. Might
But
as well swing.
if that doesn't happen, you get to
you could
untap,
win.
gain some life with your Scavenging Ooze, clean up the Lava Mancer. The Scavenging Ooze dying would be such a big deal anyway that I think you do want to attack with the Bloodbraid Elf.
I'll say go. Oh, Nimble Obstructionist for Jeff. That's going to be lethal. Wait, well, not yet.
Immediately.
Not immediately.
Not immediately, but things going the way they're going.
Right, so if Jeff attacks for 3, Lava Mancers for 2, then he has the lethal burn spell in his hand. Well, I guess Michael might be able to remove all the creatures and eat them. And okay, we still have a game.
Right.
Obstructionist for 3 sends Michael to 4.
Yeah, Michael is heavy on green mana. There are 3 green sources there.
Jeff says go.
It's about to be at least 2 creatures in graveyards.
Right. Didn't get a good look what he picked up. We know he had a Bloodbraid Elf going into the turn, but it seems unlikely that he can cast it here.
Right. Yeah, he really needs to be using Scavenging Ooze to gain some life. You can't really get the creatures in Jeff's graveyard, though, because the Lava Mancer can just remove them. You can double activate, though, and Jeff can only Lava Mancer once. So if you use all your green mana, you end up getting them.
Well,
or I don't know. No. It's a cost. It's a cost on Lava Mancer to exile. You don't even get to do that.
Michael missed a life gain point here, because if he
you split the creatures up, right?
Yeah.
Force activation of the Lava Mancer, then kill the Obstructionist.
Yes. So Michael's going to be down a life point here as he takes 2 damage upstairs. Now, with a bolt in Jeff's hand, might not matter. He still has enough damage to have it covered. 3 mana is Liliana of the Veil and Edicts away, but then Jeff says, I still have Wizard's Lightning, I still have 3 mana, and we're going to game 3.
Yeah, and Michael had no way to know he was going to draw a second Bloodbraid Elf, but he did have the option to gain 2 life with that Collective Brutality.
Yeah, and okay.
And,
if he had 2 Bloodbraids at the time, but I don't think he did.
Right, he drew the second copy after the fact.
Yeah.
But, you know, leaving 2 life on the table against a burn deck, it's going to cost you in some of the games.
And Jeff Hoogland ties it up. Really by the skin of his teeth there on that one. But you see how it's... The longer the game goes on, Michaels takes control. It's just that life total he's got to be careful with. Jeff's turning into a burn deck in this matchup.
Right. Yes, his deck... really pretty heavy on the burn elements. This is a matchup that does force him to leave the mana leaks and the remans in. So he's still playing a little bit of an interactive game, and the Steam Vents for Jeff was very timely there. He ran out of the ability to be a blue deck right as he drew the red mana to start being a burn deck. With Michael on the play, though, those chip shots with Delver of Secrets to get a little bit harder. Michael has more time to set up Liliana before Jeff gets to attack with creatures. And really, both Lilianas are quite powerful in the matchup, Veil and Last Hope.
Yeah, I mean, both cards are just likely going to... They're 3-mana plays that are really likely 2-for-1s, if not more.
Yes.
And that just plays into what Michael's trying to do.
Right.
Last Hope looked incredible there.
Yeah, that's going to be the case in most of the games. As long as Michael's mana development is fine.
Right.
It's just excellent against Jeff's deck.
He's just scraping in for that damage for Hoogland. But
And the game would have been pretty different if Michael also just had some one-man removal spell.
it was just Fatal Push to the first play.
Yeah. He does have 4 Lightning Bolts in 1 push, so he's not doing anything like playing 8 one-mana removal spells.
Sure.
And that's kind of what we've seen from Jund in the post-Bloodbraid Elf era. One of the ways you make room for those Bloodbraid Elves is only play 5, maybe 6 one-mana removal spells.
Yeah, and didn't actually see any sideboard cards yet out of Hoogland. Just the main deck. Those 4 Nimble Obstructionists. That's something that we have not seen too much of that card.
He's been singing their praises on Twitter. Also, Jeff is a player who loves a gotcha.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes your opponent cracks the 3rd fetch land, and this is exactly what he said when he came by the booth. It's like, you stifle their land, and they don't play another land, and you win the game sometimes.
It's almost as good as Shadow of Doubting them when they do it. So I got to play a mix of both. That way they won't know which one's coming. Yeah. I actually, the first time I've only played against Nimble Obstructionist in Standard. But I'll tell you, as the blue-white control deck, when I kept trying to cast out or seal away things, I was getting real frustrated with that card.
There's a Minnesota player who was on mono blue Delver for a while. Maybe still
That was
is.
the deck. That was the deck. Oh, he was
in Modern.
He was
in Modern.
Oh, okay.
And this was when I was playing Grixis Delver, and he was so happy when he Obstructionist one of my fetch lands. But then I just made 3 more land drops and cast Kolaghan's Command twice, and he could never win the game. Yeah, so everybody had a good time. Everybody had fun.
We both had goals.
And we both did our thing. He cycled Nimble Obstructionist. I killed all his creatures and won the game.
Yeah. He Stone Rain drew a card on you.
Looks like Michael is going to be taking a mulligan here. He still has the advantage of just generally having better cards in the matchup.
Yeah.
But it is going to be about positioning. He does have to keep Jeff from having these early insectile aberrations and getting these chip shots in, making these lightning bolts lethal.
It's been a while since I've just seen on the play from John the good old, just fetch Thoughtseize, turn 2, 4 or 5 Tarmogoyf. One of those would be real nice for him in this matchup.
Oh, yeah. Or Black Cleave Clips, Inquisition of Kozilek.
Yeah.
Fetch for basic forest Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, it's already a 3/4. It's already out of range.
Or just basic forest. Jeff cracks a fetch land.
I like that one.
That's the dream.
Eyebrow raised there on Bourgoin's side.
Didn't look thrilled. Continues to not look thrilled.
Yeah.
Can I convince myself that I like this?
It looks like he has. That's a scry. That's not shuffling back.
He's not looking yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be close.
Yeah, this is for 9-0. That's a great position going into day 2. Not that 8-1's anything to scoff at.
Turn 1 Black Cleave Cliffs for Bourgoin. Jeff's Steam Vents shocked into, again, Delver of Secrets. That'll be hit by lightning bolts.
All right. That's a box he did not check in game 2.
All right. Shock for Tarmogoyf, but it's only a 2-3. Jeff actually can just remove this with a bolt.
Yeah, this is quite boltable. This is a situation where there's a strong argument to just hang on to the Tarmogoyf for that reason.
Yeah, a Braid would work here too, and that's what's going to happen.
Ooh.
You hate to lose a Tarmogoyf to that, especially in this matchup. We'll see if that was on plan, though, for Michael. Scavenging his land is fine. Now, he's likely to lose this one, too. Jeff has a lot of removal.
Yeah, Jeff's heavy on removal. I guess he wasn't committing any other card types, so the order on the sequencing so far has not mattered. Right. Waiting on the Tarmogoyf until he did something else. I believe he's had a Liliana the Veil in hand.
Okay. That would be nice then.
Right. And when Jeff doesn't have any creatures, you don't really have to do this test for the Lightning Bolt with the Tarmogoyf. I think it was just worth waiting.
And now Michael decides against making Liliana. I believe he's holding up Kolaghan's Command.
Possibly that. Also just playing around Mana Leak by playing in this way.
And Jeff cracks a fetch land, and while the blue mana's down, Michael will make Kolaghan's Command. He's going to buy back Tarmogoyf and have Jeff discard a card. Gets Nimble Obstructionist. That's not too bad.
Yeah, that's a fine exchange.
I feel like the longer we keep the board clear and just play this game of creatures and removal spells, Michael will incidentally pull ahead.
Yes.
Eventually they'll hit 4 lands, Michael will cast a Bloodbraid, and Jeff has no way to trade with that.
It is worth noting that getting the Tarmogoyf countered means that both of the modes on Kolaghan's Command were worth a card. You didn't have to shock anywhere upstairs. But it's also true that Jeff's deck is just going to give you those opportunities. He's going to play a shockable creature. He's always going to have cards to discard.
Yeah. Jeff passes on 3 lands. Back over to Michael we go. He has Kozilek's Return, Tarmogoyf, Liliana, Fatal Push. Looks like we'll go for a Tarmogoyf again. That's likely going to be hit with a blue card, and it's hit by Spell Snare.
And Michael made this play to play around Mana Leak on Liliana. Jeff having Spell Snare is really the best case for Jeff.
Jeff says go.
Not interested in throwing his Mutavault into a removal spell.
No.
That 3rd mana matters for Vendilion Clicks, a Nimble Obstructionist, Snapcaster Mage.
And Liliana's in hand for Bourgoin. It's actually, because of the Mutavault in play, very answerable right now. Say you make the Liliana and plus it. Jeff can just bolt your Liliana and then attack it with Mutavault.
Michael's hand's also just good. Doesn't really want to discard these cards.
Yeah, he'll make Liliana.
He actually kind of wants this to be countered.
You think so? Yeah. Well, what about that burn? So it's just the same as trading with a burn spell?
Yeah, that's all fine. He wants it to be countered because he doesn't want to actually plus it. He doesn't want to discard any of these cards.
He plus it. He'll get rid of Fatal Push. Jeff will get rid of Wizard's Lightning. And if Jeff just has an end-step Obstructionist, he's going to get this Liliana for free.
Snapcaster Mage would be great, too.
Yeah, that'll do. Snapcaster Mage, what a show of strength when he gets opt with Snapcaster Mage. Jeff actually can convert his 2-for-1.
Mutavault Snapcaster just cleans up Liliana, so you may as well opt.
And that's what Jeff will do. The Planeswalker's down. Michael's hand's just 2 removal spells now. The Liliana actually worked against him there. And you see, look at this Kolaghan's Command in Michael's hand. He's thinking if he can get 2 creatures for it. Cast Inquisition. We will see opt, Lightning Bolt, and that is the Entrancing Melody.
That's the one I'm pretty interested in hitting here.
Based on where we are in the game, that seems like Jeff's best card. And Michael will take it. No gaining control of Tarmogoyf. So when we draw them, we'd like them to happen.
And when that Kolaghan's Command gets one back.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a little bit for Jeff to be able to snapcast that one. That's a lot of mana.
Yeah, we're going down to 16 on the hit. Delver for Jeff. That opens him up for a Kozilek's Return.
Kozilek's Return's probably something on Jeff's radar in a way that you're probably not going to get the Mutavault as well as these creatures.
Yeah, Jeff didn't swing the Mutavault last turn. If he didn't, it's probably not happening this turn.
Yeah. Play here, I imagine, is to do something on Jeff's upkeep. Either Kozilek's Return or using the Kolaghan's Command get your Tarmogoyf back.
And actually, Mutavault is activated. They're all swinging in. Did he get him? Michael will go for that K return.
Did Jeff draw a counterspell? He's got a remand.
He has the remand.
Yeah. So, yeah, he commuted with Mutavault, but not in a meaningful way.
It's 5 damage in, Bourgoin to 11, and Jeff, make that actually to 10. We're going to correct on the life total there.
Okay, and a 4th mana source for Michael. That's a big deal, because he has some 1-mana removal spells to go with these 3-mana effects.
Right.
Being able to double spell in the event that something is countered, that's always a big deal. Especially from 10 against a deck that's just really heavy on Lightning Bolt.
We're going to go ahead and fetch. I like how he's fetching now with mana tapped because they want an Obstructionist.
Yeah. This would be a spot where, yeah, Jeff's probably pretty happy to use the Obstructionist for that purpose. Definitely when he just knows about that sweeper effect.
Yeah, Bourgoin's hand is Hoogland's Command, Collective Brutality, Kozilek. Because they're not Hoogland's Command. Collective Brutality, Lightning Bolt, Kozilek's Return. I believe it's just 3 removal spells. And here's Kozilek's Return from Bourgoin. You can just main phase it, take care of those 2.
Yeah, this actually denied Jeff, you know, he didn't have mana up to cast like a mana leak, but also Jeff drew a land for turn, and Delver would have let him crack the Scalding Tarn, and made his draw a little bit better. So quite a few things to like about Michael main decking, main phasing.
Just shocked for Steam Vents here. Do you have a read on, if you're on Michael's side, where are you at with that?
Snapcaster Mage for 2-mana counterspell. Remand. Also, Jeff just has a ton of life. He can afford the bluff.
Do it.
Michael's hand's kind of forced on doing something.
Right, 3 mana. He's got Liliana of the Veil again. At 3. He can plus it. He has... I don't think that Collective Brutality is particularly good in his hand anymore.
If he's discarding cards, it even just gets worse. And also his other spell's Lightning Bolt. Leaving that one up is good.
Bourgoin, though, down to 8. If he pluses the Liliana, there's a chance Jeff dumps his whole hand in response. And Vendilion Click will be cast. Lightning Bolt on Vendilion Click. Card is Collective Brutality. Looks like we just said go without plussing the Liliana.
Yeah, he just wants to maintain these removal spells, and you force things to attack your Liliana. It's just Mutavault available right now, so Jeff can't close it out. And then you get to get in a position where the spells you draw, you can plus your Liliana for 1 turn, and then Jeff's unlikely to have a counter spell.
Hits Bourgoin down to 6, says go. Jeff has Bolt in his hand. He's going to ignore Liliana of the Veil. It doesn't do anything particularly relevant right now.
Michael is going to be able to start trying to block with this Treetop Village, though.
Right. See, if that's a fetch line, Michael has a pretty good line here. He can just, like, Collective Brutality to drain for 2, then plus the Liliana and say go.
Yeah, drain and look at the hand.
Or actually,
Jeff empty. You tap off of Treetop Village that way.
Well, if the last card's a land, you could just drain and make your land drop.
Sure. Or even just duress.
Yeah, either.
That's probably less good.
I think because if you duress, Jeff's probably emptying his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to just drain for 2. I like this a lot. So it's 12 and 8. Yeah, plays the land, pluses the Liliana. This is really nice. And now he has Treetop back as a blocker.
I believe Jeff picked up another land.
Well, see, Jeff had an opportunity to bolt down this Liliana that he declined. And so he'll attack with Mutavault, activate Treetop Village on the block. Jeff will bolt it. So then Michael will go to 5. But
yeah, that village has been on the table. So I understand not bolting the Liliana. But
yeah, I guess he's really paying respect to Treetop Village.
Right.
So Michael's at 5, Jeff at 12. Both players empty-handed, but Michael has a Liliana. Jeff has a Mutavault.
Mutavault is looking more valuable here. Michael needs some stuff that is not lands off the top of the deck pretty quick.
Right. He is Jund. He might be up to the task. We'll
Right.
see.
Like a Scavenging Ooze would be quite
Yeah.
powerful.
Some 3-mana card. That's what he wants to see. Tireless Tracker. Plus his Liliana.
This makes it so lands going forward are fine draws.
Yeah.
I just it's tense
Do you trade
not
it?
blocking Mutavault on this turn though.
I know. This is
I don't
a really.
know if you can afford that.
Yeah, Jeff's attacking. Are we trading? I really don't want to trade if I'm in Michael's spot.
And the Liliana ultimate also just kind of doesn't matter. That's
Right.
what Michael's building up to. The edicts do.
Yeah, Liliana's not doing much other than checking top-decked Delvers and Grim Lavamancers at this point.
Chef's deck just has so many lightning bolts.
I know.
Bolt, Wizard's Lightning, Snapcaster Mage, where
You still want to go to 3.
Michael doesn't really have an avenue to close the game. I'm interested in trading off the tracker.
Michael goes to 3.
And a lot of Jeff's other cards are just cantrips as well. And if you don't draw a land, I guess
you feel bad
most
about
of your
it.
spells do deal with Mutavault. But I don't know. Maybe Michael draws a discard spell on this turn. Now
Yeah,
you have a
that
discard
stinks.
spell, and then you just have to trade with Mutavault on this turn.
You can go to 1.
Sure.
I mean, we're already in, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you're turning on any additional burn. I mean, Jeff's already
He
drawing.
can kick a Burst Lightning already, I suppose.
And Jeff's already drawing to about 14 outs that kill you, so might as well. Nimble Obstructionist end step for Jeff. Is that going to be lethal? Michael?
He didn't plus his Liliana.
Right, so it's probably at some instant.
I would hope.
Okay. Ooh.
Is it
3 mana.
Gulligan's
Is this
Command?
Gulligan's Command? Oh, wow.
That's
okay.
a good one.
Killing Nimble Obstructionist, getting back Scavenging Ooze. Now.
All right. This is the
Now
turn.
Jeff's got about a turn.
All
And
right.
Snapcaster Mage is going to do it. He had a bunch of bolts to draw to, and he finds one. Jeff Hoogland completes the 9-0 with blue-red Wizards.
I don't know that Michael is ready for